Even though Rev is not here, she gave us clear assignments for today, and we have work to do. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, our theme in February is extraordinary love. And I love that we're focusing on love right now. I love that we're focusing on love right now. With all the heaviness in the world, I find myself so being drawn to the light when it comes through, to these extraordinary acts of love that we are seeing everywhere. And a few that caught my eye this week, Rev's been talking about the monks. They are still walking. They are walking and walking and walking, and it is amazing to see how their journey is evolving as they go. Do you see, I've been so moved by these exchanges that happen between the monks and the people that gather to welcome them along. These silent exchanges of an orange being passed to the monks, or a bracelet being passed to someone else, a gentle touch. It's quite moving. And then there was the Grammys, where Bad Bunny won Album of the Year, first time ever an album all in Spanish has won that award. And when he got up, he had a different tone in his comments than some of the other speakers did, and all of their comments were incredible. But here's what Bad Bunny said. He said, everyone, the hate gets more powerful with more hate. The only thing that's more powerful than hate is love. And I felt my whole being shift when he said that. And then I don't know if I can speak of it without actually coming to tears today, but I'm going to try. The singing resistance movement that we're seeing in Minneapolis, that is now spreading around the world. I saw a video this morning of people in Europe joining in song. People who are gathering in the hundreds and thousands to sing for peace. Are you ever overwhelmed and in awe of the amount of love that's out there in the world? I just have been overcome by it. You all and your love had an important part in my life this week. And here, you didn't even know it. And here's how it happened. I got a text, and it was a short text from Rev. And it said, hey, how would you feel about doing the talk on Sunday? Any guesses of my one-word response? Yes, no, that, yeah. No, yeah. What, huh? Terrified was my response. This was Thursday night, yes. Terrified was my response. It's amazing how fast that fear train can come shooting out of the station. All those things of how would I possibly do a talk on Sunday? I think I'm the newest person to Science and Mind teaching in that room. What am I going to say to these people? What if I mess up and it's on video out on YouTube forever? What am I going to wear? Like everything. What if I'm too much? What if I'm not enough? What if I can't meet the moment? And two things helped that train stop. One is the knowledge that when Rev asks you to do something, there is only one answer. Because we don't know where all that stuff's coming from, but we say yes. The second is I knew without a shadow of the doubt that each of you in this room would hold me with unconditional love in this moment. I knew it. See, and you are. You deliver. From the moment I walked through that door, you all have been loving on me. And I know Rev Sherry and Rev Cheryl and Audrey and Fran and everyone else out there is holding me in love. And here's what I think I hear from you, and here's what I feel from you. Trudy, you are enough for this moment. The version of you that we are getting is the version that we need. You are beautiful. We see you, and we are here with you. Yeah. See, you are the most lovingest people I know. Now, here's our assignment for today. To what extent do you extend that same love, that same acceptance, that same warmth to yourself. Because here is our assignment from Rev. Our topic today is a self-love affair. Each week this month, we're exploring love in different forms. Today, self-love. Now, if you're like me, this might be the toughest week. It's certainly the type of love I deprioritize the most. So, our assignment, self-love. What is self-love? Now, I come from the corporate world. We don't talk about self-love, but we talk about self-care sometimes. And we get confused. I get confused about that. I think of self-care, and people quickly go to, well, I could get my nails done, I could get a massage, I could go eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, I could binge on Netflix for a while, right? That's not what we're talking about with self-love in this environment. We are talking about loving ourselves so fully, so unconditionally, that we can put down all that weight from the fear and shame trains. All those shoulds we're carrying with us, all those not enoughs, all those judgments, all of those things that we carry that are preventing us from having our hands to be free to pick up the work that is actually ours to do in the world. And we are living in consequential times, a time in which the world needs our hands to be free to pick up what is ours to do. And if we are carrying all of that weight, we can't do it. So self-love is not about indulging and luxury and checking out. It's actually about checking in. This is a topic I've been reflecting a lot about these days. My work is as an executive coach. I work with leaders. I've done this work for a long time. And I have the privilege in that space to work with extraordinary people, accomplished people who care deeply about the work that they do and about others. And I get to hear their thoughts and their feelings, a lot of times things they don't share with other people. And I get that privilege. They are brutally hard on themselves. Many of us are brutally hard on ourselves. And here's what I've come to believe. I believe that the single most important competency in leadership is self-love. If these leaders loved themselves with unconditional acceptance, just even a little bit more, they would be more able to meet the moment that they are facing. These folks are under incredible pressures, so much pressure right now in the world, and they're standing on shifting grounds. Nothing's certain, everything's changing. For them to show up with presence and wisdom and judgment, they have to love themselves more. Because if we are at war internally, how can we possibly show up in wise and loving ways to others? And it's not always simple. I'm starting to figure a couple things out for myself, I think. And I had a breakthrough this past week with one of my clients. His name is Jeff. Jeff and I have been working together for a long time. Usually I work with leaders just about 6 to 9 months. I've been working with Jeff for actually a few years. He shows up every 2 weeks, without a doubt, to our sessions. And one of the great honors Jeff gives me is he shares with me about his journey with faith. It's one of the most important things to him. And he shares with me what it's like when he's in faith and feeling connected, and when he's out of faith and feeling disconnected. And this past week, Jeff made a comment. And I don't remember his exact words, but here's what I heard. Regardless of what he said, right? Here's what I heard. He said, Trudy, I need to be in faith so that I can get released from feeling this fear. And I almost didn't let Jeff finish that sentence before I said, that's not how it works. And we both kind of paused, like, what was that about? He said, well, say more. And so I started talking about, well, and when I'm in faith, I feel an anchor, but I still feel the fear, and I kind of talked and talked and talked. But I've really been thinking about what's the relationship between faith and fear. And faith, fear, and self-love. And I've come to, for me, there is an intimate connection between faith and self-love. And here's what it is. One of the greatest ways my clients and I block our capacity to self-love is that we take on too much. Take on too much. There are 8.2 to 8.3 billion people in the world. And some days I feel like I have to do it all. Like everything's on me. And when that's happening, it's often because I'm swimming outside of my lane. I'm taking on work that doesn't belong to me. And I do this a lot with my kids, who are now 19 and 21 years old. My son's in Michigan. And I spend so much energy worrying about if he's warm enough. Did he put on layers today? What's the weather in Michigan today? I text him, Nate, it's going to be 1 today. You better be sure you put on those layers, and did you wear the socks? And you got to be sure. And here's a link to a helpful article about what happens when it's -1. And no response. And then at one point he said, I live here, right? So there I am, swimming in somebody else's lane. Sometimes I swim in other people's lanes, and they appreciate it. My kids have never once said, Mom, please don't do my laundry when I come home. Don't do it. Sometimes people appreciate when we take on their work. But guess what? It's not my laundry to do. And if I'm doing their laundry, I'm not doing my work that I'm meant to do here in the world. So if I am going to have self-love and only take on my work, not others, then I must have faith that if there is other work to be done in the world, there are people out there who will step up and do it, who are meant to do it. I must have that faith. So fear, how do fear and self-love relate? What's the relationship between those two? So I did a lot of reading about faith and fear after my conversation with Jeff this week. And it turns out there are people who say that they have so much faith, they don't have fear. That is not my experience. I have fear all the time. I'm very familiar with fear. And so, if that is my lived experience, if I am to have self-love, I have to love my fear. Rather than view it as yet another thing about me that needs fixing, how do I embrace it and love it with unconditional acceptance? There's a poet and philosopher named Rilke. He's Austrian. He wrote at the turn of the 20th century. And he wrote letters to a young man who was asking him for counsel. In one of his letters, he said this: "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue, do not seek the answers, which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer." And I love this letter because it just conveys so much grace. Grace of loving ourselves when we don't know the answers, when we are imperfect. That is when we need to extend love to ourselves the most. So the resistance singers in Minneapolis, they sing these songs that are more like meditations to me, mantras. It's kind of the same thing repeated. They sing them in rounds. And there will be someone sort of leading in some way, although leading isn't quite the right word, centered in some way. who will say, and now with this next round, let's send it to your family. And then they sing with the idea it's going to the family. Send it, this next one, to the neighbors, to the city. And at some point they'll say, to yourself. One of the lines from one of these songs is, we walk the same ground, but we've been torn apart. Put down your weapons, come sing your part. Put down your weapons, come sing your part. To ourselves. The time has come, family, where we must put down the weapons we wield against ourselves so that we can step into the world and fully sing our parts. If we're to extend the love that we are here to bring to the world, we are here at this consequential moment for a reason. We must first start by loving ourselves. So here's the test I've been using. If I loved myself unconditionally, would I still be carrying this burden? If I loved myself unconditionally, would I still be carrying this burden? And if the answer's no, then my work is to find ways to extend more love to myself so that I can put down that weight and free up my hands to sing my part. So here's the experiment I'm running this week, and I invite you to join me. 2 experiments, actually. One, I'm running the mirror test. When I hear that voice pop up in my head saying different things to me, I'm going to ask, would I say that to someone I loved? And if the answer's no, then I'm going to work on what would I say to that person I love? And I will say that to myself. Experiment 1. Experiment 2, I'm going to practice a sacred no. What laundry am I picking up? What weather am I worrying about in someone else's life that is not mine to carry? And what space does it open up for me and for them if I put that down? So today is Super Bowl Sunday. I gotta thank you, Jamie. Jamie's excited. So we have some football fans and some not football fans. I'm a fair weather football fan. I don't pay attention all season, and then at the end I might pay attention. So I'm gonna watch today. But in addition to the game itself, the external game, the battle that's taking place on the field, I'm gonna watch the halftime show. Bad Bunny's the headliner. And I'm gonna watch him closely. I'm gonna watch how he brings love to his performance, love to his language, his culture, his craft, his deep acceptance of who he is and his pride in who he is. And I'm going to use his performance as a reminder for the inner game that I'm playing in the Super Bowl of my life. And I invite you to do the same today in the Super Bowl of your life, whether you're watching the game or looking at love out in the world. Because as he said, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. So as we head out today, regardless of what you're doing, Jamie's going to a party. Even if it's just you, Jamie, it's going to be a party, I can tell. I invite you to resign as your own enemy and to use the love you see in the world as a reflection of the love you deserve to give yourself. Let's put down our weapons. Our hands need to be empty of them so that we can be free to lift up the work of the world that we are here to do. So, thank you for loving me through this today. I hope you feel my love coming right back at you, and I look forward to continuing this journey together. Blessings.